Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Enough channel. In today's video, we're going to look at the Bulldog Project after round 5. So we scored 1,164 points, um, but in reality, we're not too worried about that because what a result for the boys on the weekend. Playing the Cowboys Sunday night, and Fatala Mariner. Well, actually, sorry, go back even further. Kick out was ruled out before the game with a concussion, and he'll actually miss, I think, the next 2 rounds, they said, whether that included the Cowboys game and then the Rabbitohs, or if it's Rabbitohs and the next game, I don't 100% remember. I think maybe just doing a quick calculation, it will definitely be the Rabbitohs game, and then he should be back after that. So we lost him from the starting team. So for Mariner moved on the edge, probably got HIA'd out of the game fairly early. So big Jaden Ockenbaugh got out there and did the job for us on the edge and even in the middle at times, because then Preston and Max King decided to square off, and Max King's eye was on the line. Jacob Preston's hand. Um, Preston, stayed on through it all, which was unreal. And Max King, with one eye, came back on in the second half, so that was insane to see too. So some big minutes from Waddell, Ockenbaugh, obviously. Um, they were interchanging middle and edge. Joshy Reynolds was back, which was great to see. He was playing as basically a lock forward. And big Frankie Pele getting some good minutes too, just because it was all hands on deck. And then, the last minute try, the conversion to win, hitting the posts, and then the sneaky chip kick play to Addo Carr, and then getting the ball back in that sort of last second field goal in the first half of Golden Point. It was a crazy game, but so glad that I was able to see it. But in terms of the Super Coach Bulldogs team, I don't even know if we can call it that anymore. It's slowly morphing away from that initial squad, but can see we captain Marnie trying to keep it in house with the 55. Um, he had a couple of errors and stuff, but he had try assists. He always lots of tackles in the middle. So it's a bankable score. But when you see the others, we did miss out. Harry Grant with the 81. So the 1 week blip is gone. That's what we sort of expect from Harry week in, week out. Max King, so 59. And like I said, he probably spent a bit more time off the field than he was planning on. Um, but yeah, massive effort, and he's the keeper for the season, I think, as far as our team's concerned. Ryan Sutton, so he's chugging along with his 44, 45s. It is what it is. Frankie Pele, so his best score for the year in terms of points and also minutes. What's his break even looking like now? Oh, that's right, I don't have Supercoach Gold on this account. But, his 8 will be out of the average now, so he might even, generate a little bit of cash, but obviously not as much as we're planning on. So Tanner, not quite sure what's going on there. I know Curtis Moran come in for Viliami Kikau. I didn't think he was in the top 30 squad. They would have to get dispensation. Um, so, yeah, we might try to switch him this week to a front row that is going to make a bit of cash or something like that. Second row, so Katoa with a 45, which, if that's his base, we can live with that. Same deal with Hopgood, 47. Same deal with Ford, 43. So, probably their lowest scoring weeks, but they're all still making cash. Hopgood technically isn't. He's made us a lot of cash already. So it might even be an opportunity to upgrade him, perhaps. So Nathan Cleary in the halfback slot, 124. That's why we kept the faith, knowing that he would repay. Josh Reynolds with the 32 off the bench, so we were not expecting him to do a lot, but good to see him back. Berto with the 74, just and winning it for the team. That'll only boost his confidence in being the main man. So yeah, happy with that. And Schuster was a late out, so we had brought him in. But part of that was really just that cash generation to upgrade our second halfback spot in 2 weeks' time. So then to the back, so Kiraz, 76, he just does what he does, runs, breaks tackles, offloads. And Perham, he's looking really good too. So, one that got away from a lot of people in I guess I was going to say regular SuperCoach. This is regular SuperCoach. But I know I missed him on my team, and he's now uh, doing the business. Uh, Nickel Clockstad 74. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. Fido, obviously not quite as good with 43. I really think not having Sean O'Sullivan there at the Dolphins is going to hinder his scoring. So he's one I'm going to look at moving on, I think, this week. Teddy is probably the other one we're going to look at moving on this week with a 22. Um, and with the concussion, he will miss next week's game. So, again, I can't see his break even, but it's going to be massive. Because what did he score last week? I can't see that. No, I can't because it's been slow. Tommy Turbo 106. That's fantastic. We love Tommy Turbo. Sign him up with the Dogs. I missed the centre wing bench. I got too excited about Tedesco. Averillo 35. That's solid. Almighty 40. We sort of expected a bit more, but didn't quite work out. And Tyrell Sloan 67. You know, that's good. That's why we brought him in to make that cash for us. So then trades for this week. So we still need how much to get the Hines. So Hines is at 900k. That's right. So we've got 339 sitting there on Joshy Reynolds. 318. So what's that about? 650. So need to generate another 250k across the next 2 weeks. So how do we do that? Kickout's going to miss, but we want to keep these two in the team, which is a bit annoying. Especially we don't quite know when Pangai's coming back. So I think the money is going to come out of the hammer, to be honest. But then the issue is there's not a lot of cheap options. Oh, sure, I can't do break evens, can I? This one, 3 round average. So you can see all the gun 3 round averages are all quite highly priced. Khan Pereira, so he obviously has that massive 117 in his average. So that could actually be a bit of a handy shout. What do we want? 2 weeks of cash. That could work. Bring Khan Pereira in. Because yeah, we've got Alamotti, Avrilo, Sloan. We're probably happy to play all three of those guys over him if we're being completely honest. So 436 plus 330, it's 760, 770. So I still only need another 120k. Oh, and then the other issue is Tedesco. So the real issue is if we were to bring in someone like a Reece Walsh, we'd be going backwards in money. But it would only be 50k. But I guess keep doubting him, thinking he can't keep scoring, but then he just keeps on scoring. So I think it might be time to start running with the crowd there a bit. Yeah, I don't foresee any other options. Latrell's going to drop in cash. So, can catch him later. The other one, which is a bit more of a pod move, is Lockie Miller. He's looking pretty good in at fullback for the Knights, and we could actually then swing him into the centre wing later when we look at getting Tedesco back. Although that'll be then 3 trades on Tedesco, which isn't ideal, but that's all right. Yeah, I mean, we've got to start making some points. Actually, let's just cancel. Just reassess for a second. So, because yeah, we want some money to bring Hines in, but we also want some money to bring Payne Haas in. So, how hard do we blow up the side? Because we could also bring in someone like a. I'll have to search for him, I suppose. To River. So scored 63 on the weekend, which was his high score for the year. So, you know, the cash gen is going to be there for the next couple of weeks. Hmm. I need to think about this, I think. I mean, as much as I want to hold, we really do need to probably look at banking the points. Sorry, banking the cash. Because, yeah, we want the points. So, how much is it? Haas. So, it's Desco to Haas is actually only worth about 80k. I think we can afford that and still do okay next week. Yeah, we don't have the centre wing second row connection. Alright. I think whichever way then I slice that move, it's going to have to be a trade boost to trade a forward out and then trade someone back here in. But, well, what if... Okay, let's go it. See how it looks anyway. So we'll get rid of Sutton. Get Payne Haas in. So that gives us 100k. Then if we trade out, let's throw Perrin back there. He's the actually want him in the centre wing. Throw Averillo back there. He's probably a bit more expendable, if we're being honest. And let's see. I want to get my man Lemu Elu in. So that gives us. So we're pretty much back to where we started, aren't we? 376. Yeah. Well, the money we lose on. Yeah, so 376 plus 330, that's about 700. So we'd still need 200 next week. And the other guy that's a downgrade target, Tom Eisenhuth, 279. So we need someone about 479 to trade out, which, you know, Avarillo would go close. So we could potentially burn our fifth and final trade boost on round 7. But by then, we've got two gun hookers, two good front or gun front rower, and I'll call Maxi gun after his effort this week. So two gun front rowers. We've got a band of five, I suppose, decent sets, or even Jacob Preston. Sorry, I didn't mean to exclude him. But I guess if you look at the cash there, we've got enough to, shuffle the decks as we need to get some good second rowers. We'll have Nico Hines in as our second halfback. Got Birdo, which is a solid option, and we can upgrade our second 5'8" as we need to. Um, and then, if we consider keeping these three or even four, if Lemuel is continuing to do the job in the second row for the Dolphins, we'll just keep his bankable spots. So, we could play with this for most of the season, and there's a lot of cash we can use here on the bench too. So then we've just really got to get a second fullback, and I think we're leaning towards waiting for Tedesco's price to bottom out and trade him back in. So wasting a few trades on a player, but that's okay. So I think once we get to that stage, we're pretty happy with that side. So yeah, so next week it's Hines in. We're pretty happy with the rest of the team, how it's going. And then as we cash these guys out, they'll turn into a Tedesco and hopefully a Munster, and we'll shuffle the second row around a bit once we sort of work out what we want to do with that. But yeah, so that's how the team's shaping up. How good a trade boost. So yeah, if you've got any other comments on the team and what you do with it, feel free to comment. If you're liking this series or these types of videos, give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel, to get all the fantasy football, I suppose, content, whether it's SuperCoach, NRL fantasy, sports deck, even AFL SuperCoach. And other than that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.